Hey there, laser makers. Jim, the Michigan Laser Guy here. I wanted to do a new series of videos today, starting today. That is a beginner series on LightBurn. I get a lot of questions about from my tutorials and from other videos and other things I do, asking how to do more basic stuff. So a lot of my videos are tailored towards people that have some basic understanding of kind of how to work in LightBurn already. They're just trying to figure out how to do some more advanced stuff. So we're going to start this new beginner tutorial series that kind of should help get people up and running from the beginning. You've got a new laser, you've installed LightBurn, you've gotten LightBurn connected to the laser. Now you need to know how to use LightBurn and how to kind of work in this space. So this first video is going to be the intro to the LightBurn layout. Now it's worth noting here that I am using LightBurn 2, which is currently a release candidate. The version 2 will be released soon here in 2025, but I didn't want to record a video for LightBurn 1.7 and then have to go back and create a new video. So if you don't have the LightBurn 2.0 release candidate, you can download that from lightburnsoftware.com. If you are using 1.7, most of this information will still apply. There's a couple minor differences, but I have purposely put my LightBurn in dark mode. As you can see, it is a kind of a dark gray color. This is a 2.0 feature, and this is to help distinguish that I am working in LightBurn 2. So, without further ado, let's talk about setting up your workspace. Because if you've just installed LightBurn, or you installed LightBurn and you've moved some stuff around, maybe whether accidentally or you were just playing with it and you can't figure out where stuff is because it's now in a different spot. So let's start with that. We'll cover first how to reset your layout. So in LightBurn, if you click on the window menu here at the top, the very first item in the window menu is reset to default layout. When you do this, this is going to reset all your layout exactly as it was when you first installed LightBurn. This is really helpful if you've moved stuff. Sometimes you can accidentally drag a window somewhere, put something where it doesn't belong, or put something where you're not expecting it, possibly even off the screen. So for example, I just moved my layers tray up to the top toolbar, but you can only see 3 layers. You can't see the entire thing, which you should be able to see all 29 layers, 30 layers. So let's say you get this in a spot you don't want. You just want to start over from scratch with a fresh layout. Just reset to default layout. That puts it back the way it was when you first installed. So from there, let's get to some important parts of LightBurn. First and foremost, the top bar, the bar along the top here. This is your file management. This is your LightBurn layout bar. I actually have 2 in the default layout. The top left, and if you can see them, there's these little kind of drag handles. There are a bunch of little dots. These are the separators between the toolbars. So you can see I have the one on the left and this one on the right over here. So I'll just move this over here for now. The toolbar on your left, the top left, this has all your file manipulation tools. This is opening, importing, saving, going back, going forwards, cutting files, copying, pasting, deleting stuff. This also has tools for zooming in, zooming out. So you can use this magnifying glass with the minus sign to zoom out, magnifying glass with the plus sign to zoom in. The one to the left of that will zoom in so that your workspace is in the page, and the other one, this kind of dotted outline, this will zoom in to the objects you have selected. So if you have several items selected, you want those to be full screen, you can use that tool to get those on the screen. The next tool you have there is your preview window. You should be using this frequently before you burn stuff. This will help you see exactly what the laser is planning to do, and you can step through it to see the order in which things are going to happen. This is a very useful tool for helping you see how the light, how the project is going to burn when it goes to your laser. The last two icons there, the settings dialog. This is for LightBurn settings, and the next one is device settings. This is for settings related to your machine. So if you're trying to adjust settings in the software, you're going to use the gears icon. Settings for your laser is going to be the device settings icon. The next toolbar you have over here on the top right is kind of your grouping and alignment tools. This is called the Arrange toolbar. Now I do recommend switching the Arrange toolbar to the long Arrange toolbar, which is going to help you out tremendously. The difference is these like align and arrangement and object distribution icons. Right now they're stacked buttons. If you can look at them, if you see them really close, they have like a little kind of down arrow, and if you click on them it pops up a little menu. So if you want the full alignment menu, go to your window menu, click Arrange Long, and then this is going to give you an additional toolbar, and then you can go turn off the Arrange button, or the Arrange toolbar. So now those same icons are available, but they're broken out into separate buttons, which helps if you use those tools a lot. Important thing to note about the window menu, there's kind of two separate sections, and it may be hard to see in dark mode, but here between modes and art library there's a small line. The stuff below that line is separate windows that can get added over here on the right. The stuff above that is toolbars. So these items right here, between main and modes, those are all different toolbars that can get added. And then the ones below that, art library and down, those are different windows that can get added. I recommend turning on art library. If you're not using the art library, this will be covered in a different video. But the art library is very handy for kind of saving things that you use frequently. In my general layout, I like to actually move my laser window up here to the top, and I put it after shape properties. So the laser window is how I start framing and everything like that. Material and art library are things I use frequently, both again covered in different videos. So that's the kind of the top bar. The next bar down here, so we have two bars, or a couple different bars on the next line. The first one is your numeric edits bar. This is this section here. That's where you would change sizes and positions of things numerically by selecting them and then changing. You can change the position of things and numerically edit how things are laid out. And the next bar over here, which is kind of in the middle, this is your font bar. When you're doing any type of text work, this controls like the size of the fonts and which font you're using and the spacing and alignment of that font. The next window over here is for rotaries. This has to do with cylinder correction, running tumblers and setting up rotary. If you don't have a rotary, you can go ahead and turn that off if you don't want to use that, or if you're just working on flat stock most of the time. I believe that is in the modes menu here. So modes, we'll turn off that stuff. The next section here over on the right in the second row is your docking menu. This is for docking objects. You can dock them to your workspace. So you can attach them to different spots in the workspace. I don't personally use docking very often, but a lot of people use their lasers in a setup where it's absolute positioning. So docking stuff in the workspace is kind of handy. So that's the docking menu. And then over on the left is your creation tools. So these are all the different tools for creating, creating rectangles, creating circles. One note is if you're using 1.7, there's some different tools here, and some of these creation tools are spread out. In LightBurn 2.0, the creation tools have been combined into a separate menu, and additional tools have been added. So there's tools for creating triangles and stars and a bunch of different shapes. And then below that you have some other type of tools. You have some like offset tool, which is for creating outlines around objects. Some Boolean tools for doing some different type of object manipulation, and some grid creation tools and corner radius tools and stuff like that. Down on the bottom, down here, let's see if I can move it. Can't move it. Oh, there we go. Down on the bottom, we have our layers tool. This can be moved, but the bottom is a good spot for it. Working in LightBurn, layers, going into detail on layers can be a little, might be a video for a separate video, but basically you can work in different layers. You can change the order in which the laser cuts those layers by, rearranging them. So you might have different objects in different layers. And when objects, when you're using like fill modes, it's important to note objects interact with each other when they're on the same layer. If they're on different layers, they do not interact with each other. And that's an important distinction for, how that kind of works. And one thing that a lot of people do is they have trouble kind of understanding, well, when this is in fill mode, how come I can't see what's happening on the screen? This is by design. LightBurn is, laser by nature is not a graphic design software. When you're creating art for printing on the screen, like in a raster graphics program, Photoshop or GIMP, when you create graphics and layer them on top of each other, the objects behind the front layer are entirely hidden. When you're working with a laser, that doesn't actually happen, right? So the objects in the layers behind are still going to be visible, still going to interact with the object as a whole. So by design, LightBurn is set up to show you what's called wireframes, so that you can see through those layers. If you want to work in a kind of in a format that is similar to a graphic design software, which I don't recommend. It is slower and it hides information that's really important to you. But if you want to see that, you can click on the window menu and go down to Filled Smooth. If you have a slower computer, you may choose to switch to like Filled Coarse, which is going to be a little bit faster and less intensive on your computer. So Filled Smooth will show you kind of how things are going to interact. Again, this is one of those spots where manipulating objects, as you can see, hides important information. So for example, I have this star behind the red rectangle. That doesn't mean that that star is not going to get, engraved or cut. It just means it's not visible on the screen. So, having this in filled mode hides very important information that's useful for you to know. Additionally, it makes working with line editing and it makes seeing your icons and seeing your line editing stuff very difficult. So again, if you can do it, I recommend working and learning how to work in wireframe smooth mode. So here we can see that there is in fact a star, and paying attention to the layers kind of shows you what order things are going to happen when they go to your laser. Seeing your icons again is very handy. The icons have several different stuff. We're going to leave that for a different video, and at that time we'll cover all the different possible icons that can affect how your program operates and how you efficiently work within the program. Over on the right hand side, I have right now on my screen I have the materials library. This is a library of settings that I've created for my laser. This is useful for saving different settings so that I can reproduce results without having to retest everything. So basically when I start a new material, I create a test or do some type of testing and save those settings in my materials library. Additionally, I also have the art library down here, which is where I can, save artwork and save different things that I've created for, for use in my company. And then up at the top, I have several different layers or windows added up here. Primarily, I have the cuts layers. The cuts layers window. This shows me the all the layers that are used in my design. So if I have objects that I've created in like on the blue layer is going to show here, and I can change the order of those either by moving them up, down. And this is also where I change the settings for those layers. For example, here I have the black layer. This is a line, so line is the equivalent of cut. And fill is going to be a filled raster, vector. This is a vector shape that is going to be filled using a scanning process when it goes to the laser. The other item I have is shape properties. I don't use this often, but sometimes you have different objects on the same layer and you want them to interact in a certain way, or maybe you have like say a box. Let's say take this rectangle box here, and I have some. Let's say I have some little holes in the corner, whatever. See, I was going to cut out some holes in this box, put them all in the same layer, and I wanted to make sure that these cut in a specific order. So one of the things I can do in the shape properties window is I can change the cut order priority. So higher numbers means it is lower in the priority list. So if I wanted to cut this last, I might set this to 5 and leave all the others set to 0. So regardless of how the laser optimizes this cut, because of this shape cut order priority being higher, this is going to cut last out of all these objects. But we'll get into some of those other tools at another time. But hopefully this kind of gives you some basics of how LightBurn is laid out. If you have any questions or comments, you want to know something specific about where to find a certain tool or how a specific tool works, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to create videos of any skill level, whether it's a beginner tutorial or you want some advanced tips on how to do something specific. I'm always happy to make tutorials on just about anything. Again, hit that like button down below if this video was helpful to you. Subscribe. This is what keeps me going, helps me keep making videos. So hopefully this was great for you, and have a great day. Thanks, guys.